So the story begins in 1969, where we see Iris and her boyfriend Paul. Paul is taking Iris somewhere for a surprise visit. He brings her to a place, stands her in position, and removes her blindfold. And what Iris sees leaves her stunned, because Paul has brought her to the Skyview restaurant, which is the tallest restaurant ever built at 494 feet, and it's having its grand opening today. Paul is super excited, and Iris is also very happy, but she's a little nervous. Going up that high seems a bit dangerous to her. Anyway, they head inside, and outside we see a little boy throwing coins into a fountain, which seems kind of weird. A guard tries to stop him, saying that doing this brings bad luck. So the boy hears this and walks away. Meanwhile, Iris and Paul enter the elevator, which is the tallest lift ever made and can carry up to 9,000 tons. The hotel staff is visibly excited, and the elevator attendant is beyond thrilled. He greets everyone with great enthusiasm and starts explaining the amazing features of the restaurant. He also mentions that the restaurant was completed 5 months ahead of schedule, which explains why there might be some issues here. Possibly something was rushed. Everyone is enjoying themselves, excited and happy, and even the boy comes up to the Skyview floor. As they go up, Iris starts feeling a little uneasy. She feels a strange sense of doom, as if something bad is going to happen. Of course, she doesn't say this directly, but everything around her feels off, and her intuition tells her to turn back. Anyway, the lift reaches the top, and Paul goes to the reception to confirm their table reservation. But the receptionist tells him that his reservation was never confirmed, which upsets him. Then he returns to Iris, and while they're talking, Iris starts feeling nauseous and goes to the washroom. At this point, there's music playing, drinks being served, and dancing going on. Meanwhile, a bartender opens a bottle of champagne, and the cork hits a chandelier with force, breaking a pointed piece from it. That piece falls and hits the glass floor section of the restaurant, which is built in the middle and made of glass. This causes a crack to form in the glass. Down below, we also see the building's joints shaking due to the weight, indicating that finishing construction 5 months early wasn't actually a good thing. If they'd taken more time, the structure might have been stronger. So this seems to be the restaurant's weak point. Now, inside the restaurant, Iris meets a singer performing there, who's with her son. She talks to Iris and asks if she's pregnant, to which Iris replies, yes, 2 months. But she hasn't told Paul yet because she's scared. This explains why she was feeling nauseous earlier. The singer gives her blessings and goes off to spend time with her son. Iris then returns to Paul, who takes her to an open space and proposes to her, and she's delighted. Then finally, Iris tells Paul about her pregnancy. But instead of being upset like she expected, he becomes extremely happy and even puts a ring on her finger. Although it's a little tight, but Iris still says it's perfect. At that moment, they notice the same little boy from before throwing coins again. And again, a guard tries to stop him, saying that dropping coins from this height could kill someone, because even a small object from such a height gains enough force to be deadly. But the boy doesn't listen and keeps throwing coins. And one coin gets caught in a ventilation fan. And you should note, these coins are very important to what's about to happen. Meanwhile, Iris and Paul are dancing with others, and the crack in the glass floor starts spreading. On the other hand, the coin stuck in the fan shoots out, hits a pipe, and bounces away. Now, flammable gas starts leaking. Iris and Paul, unaware, continue dancing happily. But Iris senses something wrong again and steps away from the glass section. And just as she moves, the glass ceiling shatters. Multiple people fall straight down from the 494-foot height. Iris tries to save Paul, but he also falls and dies. Along with the glass, Iris's dreams also shatter, completely destroyed. The building joints now break too, chaos erupts, and a woman catches fire while running. She reaches a vent where the gas leak is happening, and a massive fire breaks out. Iris somehow manages to survive and watches the singer burn to death right in front of her eyes. But before dying, the singer hides her son in a box to protect him. And that's what parents do, sacrifice everything to save their child. Now the entire place is engulfed in flames. The glass sections have broken, the building joints have failed, and parts of the building bend and collapse. Many people fall, but some are saved by the window glass. Then the same coin from earlier, which had landed on the chandelier, falls again, this time hitting the grand piano placed in the center. The piano shifts and smashes into the glass window, killing several people. Some people try escaping through the lift, but the lift cannot handle the weight. It breaks, crushing everyone inside. The receptionist trying to enter the lift is split into two and dies. Others try using the stairs, but those also collapse and killing everyone. The only one left is the coin-throwing boy, who gets to the ground floor and is happy that he survived. But just then, the piano falls on him and kills him too. Finally, the same coin he was throwing ends up back in a fountain, clearly indicating what bad luck truly means. Now here, shockingly, we see that only Iris was left alive, and she finds the son of that singer whom she tries really hard to save. She starts to carry him away, but both of them slip and end up hanging off the edge. What happens next is that the ring Paul had given to Iris gets stuck somewhere, and with it, a part of her finger's skin rips off. Eventually, both of them fall and die. Anyway, now the scene shifts to the present time, and this was the introduction of Final Destination, Bloodlines. And if the start is this intense, just imagine what's coming next. So stay tuned. Now the scene shifts to the present, where we see a girl named Stephanie. She keeps getting terrifying nightmares of Iris and the disaster that took place back then. These dreams haunt her so much that she's mentally disturbed. She talks to her friend and tells her that Iris was actually her grandmother, whom she never got to meet. But still, why does she keep seeing her in dreams? What was that tragedy? What really happened? These are the questions that keep running through her mind. The next day, to seeking answers, she goes to her house, where she meets her father and brother Charlie. Her mother, meaning Iris's daughter, Darlin, had left her when she was just 10 years old. Now Stephanie tries to talk to her dad about Iris, but he doesn't reveal much. So she decides to visit her uncle Howard along with her brother Charlie, and meets her other cousins too. She talks to her uncle and asks about Iris and the disaster, but he denies that any such event ever happened. So what did we see in the beginning then? According to him, Iris had gone insane and started locking people up. That's why her children were taken away from her. But even then, she didn't stop. She kept sending disturbing letters and creepy pictures, after which everyone cut ties with her. And he believes that maybe she's still alive. He warns Stephanie to not talk about Iris and stay away from her. But Stephanie has too many questions and doesn't listen. Using the address from one of the letters, she goes to meet Iris. Turns out, Iris lives alone in a bunker-like place far from the city. She monitors the doors using cameras. When Stephanie arrives, she starts talking about herself, and Iris lets her in but tells her to leave her phone and keys outside. And we all know why. Because of the gruesome deaths caused by Final Destination. A lot of people have died due to it. Now both of them sit and talk, and Iris reveals that the horrific dreams Stephanie was having were actually premonitions that Iris had seen long ago. That means the opening sequence we saw wasn't real, it was about to happen. Iris had a vision of the disaster beforehand and saved everyone. But death didn't like that. The entity here is nothing else but death itself, which claims people. According to death, no one present at that event should have survived. So one by one, it started claiming lives and even targeted Iris, who had already lost Paul. But she understood death's plan, its pattern. She spent years researching and wrote a book about how death operates. Death now wants to wipe out Iris's entire bloodline because she cheated it. And I believe that only Iris was supposed to survive that day, since only she received the premonition. But being human, she tried to save everyone. And because of that, death now chases her entire bloodline. Now Stephanie becomes scared and tries to leave, and Iris wants to give her the book so she can protect the rest of the family. But Stephanie leaves the house, and Iris knows that if she goes out, she'll die. But to convince Stephanie, she follows her, and just as expected, she dies right there. The next scene shows Iris's funeral, and by then, Darlin has also returned. But Stephanie isn't happy to see her because she had left her as a child and never came back. So Stephanie never forgave her for that. The next day, while the rest of the family is at Howard's house for a party, where Darlin also shows up but refuses to rejoin the family, Stephanie recalls what Iris told her and becomes very alert. She opens the book, where she finds the same coin that was part of the Skyview disaster. The book has detailed accounts of how people can die by cars, log trucks, and other means. It even includes a plane, which connects to the deaths in Final Destination 1. And let me remind you once again, what we saw at the start never actually happened. It was just a vision shown to Iris by Death. But because she saved everyone, Death became furious. And now, one by one, it's claiming the lives of everyone in her bloodline. The book even contains newspaper clippings covering all the deaths shown in previous movies. And it becomes clear that this is a curse affecting the entire bloodline of the survivors of Skyview. So basically, it's a curse caused by death itself, which began in 1969 when Iris had her first premonition. Since then, everyone who was meant to die in that Skyview incident and their descendants have become victims. That's what led to everything we've seen in all the movies so far. And that's what I loved about this movie. It finally explains everything. So here at the party, a piece of glass ends up falling into a drink, and there was also a garden tool lying under the trampoline. People were jumping on the trampoline, but Darlin notices the tool and moves it aside. Maybe she knew something too. By now, even Stephanie had figured out Death's plan when she arrived at the party, but it was already too late. Death begins its work. A bottle falls on the water pump and turns it on. The pump's water collects in a pipe, which then causes the tools to fall. The drink with the glass piece also falls down, and one of the glass pieces cuts Howard's foot, causing him to slip and fall. Then the garden tools, falling due to the water pressure, hit a grass cutter and turning it on, and it runs directly over Howard's face, ending him right there. After his funeral, Stephanie reads the book completely, in which she finds a name, JB. This JB had met a survivor, and fans of Final Destination know who he is. But in case if you don't recognize him yet, just wait a little. Stephanie also creates a family tree, where Iris and Paul is at the top, her children Howard and Darlin, and then Howard's kids, Bobby, Eric, and Julia. On the other side, Darlin's children are Stephanie and Charlie. She explains this to her family and tells them that all of them were supposed to die inside Skyview on that day, but Iris saved everyone. So in reality, Death's plan was left incomplete, so it has returned to claim its victims. And the biggest twist is those who were never supposed to survive went on to start their own families. And ultimately, this family tree should have never existed. Because of this, Death is now claiming all of them, and it's been happening slowly over the years since 1969. Now Death is targeting Iris's bloodline, and it's following the same original order. So the oldest, Howard, died first, and now next are his kids, Eric, then Julia, and then Bobby. And after that, it'll be Darlin's turn, and then her kids, Stephanie and Charlie. But no one believes her. Everyone thinks she's crazy like Iris, which upsets her a lot. And that's when she realizes how Iris must have felt. That same night, we see Eric in his tattoo parlor creating a tattoo in memory of his father. But suddenly, some things fall from the table due to a music-based vibration, knocking over a chemical bottle. On the other side, a chain near the fan snaps and gets caught in his nose piercing. He tries to remove it, but by then, the spilled chemical catches fire and it spreads throughout the parlor. The next morning, Stephanie wakes up Charlie, saying they need to go save Eric. They go to his house, which is actually safe because he survived last night's accident. Stephanie tells him to be careful, but he doesn't listen. Just then, Julia also arrives there, and she too doesn't listen to Stephanie. Everyone thinks these are just accidents. But when Stephanie is focused on Eric, then Julia, who is on the roadside, gets hit by a ball and falls into a trash bin. And just then, the trash truck picks up the bin, and since she fell inside, she gets crushed. They try to save her, but she gets stuck between the covers and dies. In the next scene, the whole family is devastated, and Stephanie explains that Death is very smart. It knew she had revealed its plan, so it changed its own plan and the order too. Now, anyone could die at any time. But Eric's mom says that's not true. The order is still the same because Eric is not Howard's son. She had an affair, and Eric was born from that. So he technically isn't a part of this bloodline. That's why he survived, and Julia, being Howard's firstborn, died. Eric feels heartbroken hearing this. Stephanie then says that now they need to save Bobby. She tells them that the book describes how to survive death like in mathematics. And now, they also need to find JB. Darlin says she learned from Iris's letter that JB actually works in a hospital. So everyone decides to go there, and Bobby also goes with them to stay safe, and Eric also joined them. On the way, Stephanie talks to Darlin, and Darlin tells her that she had seen Iris scared of death since childhood. She also started fearing for Stephanie and Charlie's deaths. But by doing so, she was ruining their childhood the same way, so she chose to leave them. Finally, they reach the hospital and meet JB, who we've seen in the previous movies, often assumed to be death itself, or some believe he's an angel who can stop death. But here, it's revealed that he's actually the son of the singer who survived Skyview that day. Yes, he later found Iris, met her, and together they researched. And eventually, both were diagnosed with cancer. Now he goes on to say, there are only two ways to escape death. Either kill someone and take their lifespan, or sacrifice yourself and let someone revive you through medical care, which happened with one girl. She died, but was revived medically, which removed her from Death's target list. That means the cycle was broken. Death thought it had claimed her, so she survived. JB adds that he now has cancer, and wants to spend his remaining time in peace, and he leaves. Stephanie starts thinking about what they should do next. Meanwhile, Eric takes Bobby with him and says that Bobby is allergic to peanuts. If he eats them, he'll go into a serious reaction and die. But they'll save him at the last moment, which will break the cycle. So they get peanut biscuits, but the packet gets stuck in the vending machine. So Eric gets frustrated, hits the machine, and accidentally breaks the glass. Then he tilts the machine to get the biscuits out, and a spring pops out. Now both of them enter the MRI room, where the magnetic field starts intensifying as the machine is turned on. This begins pulling the piercings on Eric's body, and since there's a chair behind him, that also gets dragged into the machine. As a result, he gets crushed and dies. And please, don't overthink how this happened. This is a movie, anything can happen here. The biggest thing is that death is making everything more powerful. Anyway, Bobby was still alive, but when the nurse opens the door, the same spring from earlier breaks off and flies straight into the machine, slicing through Bobby's head, killing him too. So basically, death claims more lives. By now, Stephanie is extremely disturbed because trying to trick death only makes things worse. She talks to Darlin and Charlie, where Darlin suggests they should stay in the same cabin where Iris had lived safely for decades. So Stephanie agrees, and they both go with her. After they leave, we see a coin that had fallen on the floor. A woman picks it up and keeps it. And I want to remind you once again, from the first part till now, the people who are dying were actually supposed to die back in 1969 at Skyview. But they survived, started families, and now death is coming after all of them. Death isn't going to stop until it gets everyone. And I personally feel that death intentionally gave this vision to Iris because it knows how humans behave. They try to save people. And because of that, death ends up with a lot more people to kill. And I also feel like this could actually be a demonic curse. There might be some demon controlling death, or maybe something else entirely. But just imagine if the story shows that a ritual was performed in the past which summoned a demon who is now causing all this. It would be absolutely wild. Anyway, at this point, the cabin was locked, so Stephanie breaks in through the main entrance, which disturbs a light cable and causes sparks to fly. Her seatbelt gets stuck, and she tells Darlene to go inside so she can be saved. And this would also ensure Stephanie's own safety. But inside, a pin breaks and falls, which turns on the gas cylinder, and the sparks cause it to explode. Because of the blast, the truck falls into the water, and Stephanie starts to drown. Meanwhile, a pillar falls on Darlene, killing her on the spot. On the other hand, Charlie rushes to save Stephanie, who is unconscious, and manages to bring her back to life. He tells her she had actually died, and now she's alive, meaning the death cycle is broken. But both of them are heartbroken over Darlene's death. In the next scene, Charlie visits his date's house, and Stephanie is with him. Basically, when they had gone to Iris's cabin, they had actually gone inside Darlene's RV. That's where the seatbelt had gotten stuck. As for Charlie, he removed the seatbelt and saved Stephanie by giving her CPR. So technically, he also cheated death. Now we see that nearby, a lady is picking up some stuff, and the coin slipped from her hand and gets stuck in the railway track. And this is an alarming sign. It means the situation hasn't improved. And remember, I told you at the beginning that everything started with this coin. And now it seems everything is going to end with it too. Stephanie and Charlie meet the doctor, who tells them that Stephanie had only fainted that day. She hadn't actually died. Hearing this deeply unsettles them because it means the death cycle is still active. Truly dying means your heart stops, your breathing stops, everything shuts down, and then you're properly revived. But that didn't happen with them, so they never really cheated death, which troubles them a lot. They realize death is still coming for them. And just then, they start sensing something strange. Meanwhile, because the coin is stuck in the track, the train derails and crashes onto the road. Stephanie and Charlie start running as fast as they can. They think they've escaped, but suddenly huge wooden logs from the train fall down and crush them both one by one. And honestly, this was the most brutal death in the entire film. The wooden logs literally crushed them to death. Here, we see that the curse and death are still ongoing. After that, we get glimpses of various newspaper clippings showing that the families who had survived earlier were now dying one by one. And with that, the final destination, Bloodlines, comes to an end. So friends, that was the in-depth explanation of the movie called Final Destination, Bloodlines. I hope you now fully understand the story and the concept behind the movie. The deaths weren't random. There was a reason behind everything. I hope you now understand the movie and the full timeline clearly. It all began with a curse triggered by death because of Iris. She had a vision and saved many people who were supposed to die at Skyview in 1969. As a result, those people lived and started families. And death didn't like that one bit. Since then, people started dying one after another. And until every last one of them is gone, death isn't going to stop. And if you want similar explanation for the rest of the Final Destination movies, do let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and set it to all, and share the video with as many people as possible. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.